Congratulations and great job to all those who found and presented brain research and created an awesome strategy for never getting tricked into doing drugs. Today's a serious video, so it's game time, but it's serious game time. Behind me, we have the stories of 4 people. 4 people. There are more of these stories, way too many more, but we're gonna start with these 4. All are people who have passed away from drugs. What do you think is the most important thing we can take away from it? How they died, maybe? Maybe who they were? Actually, no. It's how they got into drugs in the first place. How did it start? We know how they all end, but how did they get into it? The root of the problem. We have to go back and find what started the problem so we can course correct if we ever see ourselves or someone else doing what they did to get started in the first place. So what was the beginning of each of my friends' stories who passed away from drugs? Here we go with the story from number 1. Number 1 was given marijuana from an adult of all places. Insanity that adult give drugs to kids, but sadly, this happens. Out of curiosity, number 1, who was only in elementary school, that young, brain not even close to fully developed, elementary school, he started smoking marijuana. And from then on, number 1 was addicted. But as you know, drugs create holes in the brain, which causes a person to need more and more drugs with higher strengths to feel the same level of pleasure. And number 1 went from marijuana to heroin, a very strong drug, and over just a few years, he passed away. Number 1 started in grade school, literally at his school, smoking marijuana out of curiosity. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2 went skiing and went off a cliff. Not a huge one, but he injured himself. He went to the doctor and they gave him some painkiller drugs that come from doctors. He became addicted to the painkiller drugs. These painkiller drugs, you gotta know, are just like other drugs in terms of addiction. They make you addicted, so you have to be very careful with them. Number 2 got addicted and couldn't stop taking them. He died, and I can't really go into how he died because there's also some younger kids watching this. But more importantly, how did it start? Prescription painkillers from a skiing accident, not the type of start that you would think would start a death from drug use. It wasn't a party, it wasn't a drug dealer, it was just a fall on a ski resort, but he didn't know how to deal with it. Time for number 3. Number 3 started at a party. Number 3 had money. He came from a well-to-do family and worked really hard, and drug dealers or people who have drugs, this is what they're after, money. So they would constantly offer number 3 drugs at parties, knowing that if they could hook him or addict him on anything, they'd be able to take all of his money because he would just want more and more drugs. He finally said, okay, and like number 1, he started smoking marijuana at one of these parties. And it kept going like it usually does to harder drugs like heroin and all types of other drugs that have weird names. They change these names all the time, but they all do the same thing. They screw up your brain, put holes in it, and ruin your life. But number 3 was different in that he would do drugs on the side and sort of manage it and live a normal life. He just did it and didn't really tell anyone and tried to function the rest of the time. However, there was 1 month at work where he had a really awful time at work and it was super painful, and he tried to mask the pain and escape by taking too much drugs. And the next day, his kids and his wife woke up to him not responsive. He tried to manage it, and ultimately, they always do what they do. Ruined his life and the life of those around him. All right, time for number 4. Number 4 was such a beautiful girl. However, she got into drinking alcohol. A lot of people do this where they get into alcohol to try to mask pain. Some people do drugs for pleasure. Some people do drugs to mask pain. In this case, that's what she was doing. However, she got addicted to the alcohol where she couldn't even function normally unless she had alcohol. You understand why this is, because it messes with your brain, puts holes in it, and happiness and thoughts can't get stored, so you're constantly looking for something to fill those holes. This is what alcohol was for her and so many other people. Something crazy I had no idea, because you see alcohol all over the place, is that you can die from it. She died literally just from alcohol. And as number 4 was growing up and doing nursing school to become a nurse, the alcohol was just too much for her liver and her brain, and they found her in her apartment alone and dead. Had alcohol not destroyed her life, she would have had kids right now, be having so much fun, and be doing so much great stuff, but alcohol robbed her of all of that, something you will not see in all of the alcohol commercials. How did it start? She got in with the wrong crowd, and they got her doing the wrong stuff. The real tragedy will be if we do not learn from their mistakes and do not repeat them. And with that, congratulations, you have just earned the Screenwriter Achievement and 1 gold star. Yeah! Great job, hero. Now to earn the 2nd gold star, the challenge is for you to write on the back of your achievement scorecard your story. I love this. Write where you want to be. I'm here at school right now, and one day I want to be this. Or I want to be a fireman or a pilot or maybe even a dolphin trainer. You know, dolphins have echolocation to see stuff others can't. Your story is starting right now. Where do you want it to go? What would sound great if you could see yourself in the future? Write that on the back of your achievement scorecard and you will receive the 2nd star of the Screenwriter Achievement. Awesome! You got this, heroes. And I will see you soon with a very special guest.